Episodic memories are made up of multiple elements, and holistic recollection would suggest that these are recalled together. However, dependency between these elements is often very low. Dependency can be examined by using cross-dimensional cueing. That's where you cue using one element of an episode and ask participants to remember something about the other. Hicks and Starnes used this task design and found that externally cueing one element of an episode did not enhance memory for another. We wanted to build on these findings by assessing cross-dimensional cueing of source memory for objects with scene context in experiments 1A and B, and in experiment 2 we wanted to explore whether dependency in memory for two uncued event elements would be affected by a cue. Experiments 1A and 1B used three element events at study: a scene, an object, and a word. At test, they would always see the word as a probe, and in half of trials they would see a scene as a cue. They were then asked a source memory question about an object, whether it was living or non-living, and they were then asked to make a recollect familiar judgment, to suggest if they remembered the item or if they were simply familiar with it. Experiment 2 employed a very similar study phase, except the object was presented either visually or auditorily, and the word was replaced with a face. At test, participants always saw the object as word form as a probe, and in half of trials saw the face as a cue. They were then asked to make two source memory judgments about the object and the scene. In experiments 1A and 1B, accuracy as measured by D' was higher and recollection more likely when the scene was included as an external cue. And these cross-dimensional cueing effects were much larger for recollected items than familiar items. However, in experiment 2, cues did not improve source memory for objects or scenes relative to no-cue trials. In conclusion, strong cross-dimensional cueing effects were found in experiments 1A and 1B, and these effects were larger for items that were recollected rather than items that were just familiar. These data support holistic recollection, showing that cross-element links can be powerful. However, no cross-dimensional cueing was found in experiment 2, where seeing a studied face did not improve source memory for the objects or scenes. Just to note, we also found significant dependency between object and scene source memory in experiment 2, but as a face cue did not impact accuracy of those source memory judgments individually, we could not assess cue effects on dependency. Taken together, these findings may suggest that spatial context play a special role in the way episodic memories are represented, stored, and retrieved. We are currently testing these hypotheses with two new studies in a very similar task design.